Wow, so there was a whole swath of news relating to the Pittsburgh Penguins GM search on Monday. After this drop, I'm going to discuss it all in full length for you. So that's coming up right after this.
You're Locked On Penguins, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Penguins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at LO_Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So let's just jump right in. When it comes to this massive Monday when it comes to updates for the GM search. All started on the Elliot Friedman 32 Thoughts podcast with Jeff Merrick. He says that there was going to be some clarity this week. Thinks there could be potentially even be a hire by the end of this week. Did not drop any new names. But then I listened to Frank Cervalli, and he actually did drop another name or two, said that he thinks they've talked to Cam Lawrence, who does some of the analytics for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Also dropped the same names that he had in his report last week. Also speculated if the Penguins had talked to Sam Ventura or not. And he said he doesn't really buy the speculation that the GM search could be over by the end of this week. He said they have June 1st in mind, which is, what did they say, May 15th? It's about 2.5 weeks away is when they want this finalized, unless, of course, Frank is wrong on that account. And then we got a big tweet from Pierre LeBrun this evening where he said the Penguins have wrapped up, it looks like, their first round of interviews, and this was the tweet in full. Penguins are aiming to interview 10 to 12 GM candidates as part of the first wave via Zoom. Marc Bergevin, Eric Tulsky, Jason Carmenos, and Peter Chiarelli confirmed as being among those 10 to 12 candidates who interviewed. Now comes the second phase, or the second round of interviews for some of them. Okay, let's just dissect that. Bergevin, that has been reported on here. That's been reported in other outlets. That is not a secret that they have talked to him, whether it's for the GM spot or the president of hockey operations spot. Bergevin is also interviewed in Calgary for their GM job, according to Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast today. So his name is definitely out there for at least a couple of jobs. I don't know if he's fully in consideration for these jobs or if it's just his agent just putting out that info that like, oh, he's in there. Not really, but I'm just going to put it out there that he is. And I would honestly say the same maybe for Peter Chiarelli. I can't believe I even have to discuss him on here in terms of the Penguins GM job. They cannot hire him. Case closed, point blank. There's no more to say about it. I'm obviously going to say more. I had to say that for a fact, but there is no possible way he can be in this organization. Honestly, he doesn't deserve to step foot in another organization again, considering the train wreck that he is. He drove the Edmonton Oilers into a ditch. Do I need to remind you all of the Taylor Hall for Adam Larson deal? He signed Chris Russell to a ridiculous contract. He traded Jordan Eberle to the Islanders for literally nothing in return. He traded the 15th overall pick for Griffin Reinhart. Remember that guy's name? Remember Griffin Reinhart? That's a good throwback for you all. And you know what that pick was? Remember? Matt Barzal. Which, I mean, it ended up being, it's part of that cycle. It ended up being Matt Barzal. Just a total clueless man. Cannot have him in this organization. Case closed. Jason Carmenos, I like that. He's been in the organization before. He worked under Jim Rutherford, was an assistant general manager, did a really nice job building out the analytics department while he was here in Pittsburgh. Heck, he even helped hire Sam Ventura. And Sam Ventura actually reported to Carmenos when he was here. Now it's, Carmenos and Ventura are in Buffalo. Both are, assistant general managers. They've done a really nice job. So it's nice to see Carmenos getting an interview. And then obviously the big one there is Eric Tulsky, my number one target all along. Don Waddell's right-hand man in Carolina. It's good to see that confirmation the Penguins did have him at the top on their list. I'm just going to say at the top because I don't know what the top of their list looks like. But it's good to see that he is on their list and that the Hurricanes granted permission to have the Penguins interview him, even though they're still playing. You can do it while a team is still playing. Sometimes teams decline, but I guess the Hurricanes, maybe they feel he has a good shot at getting this role. Maybe the Penguins said that to him. So they interviewed him via Zoom. I would very much expect Tulsky to get to the second round. There is something seriously wrong with your process if you do not have Eric Tulsky, at least as your finalist, if not getting the gig overall. But if it were up to me, I would give him the GM job right now. I obviously know he probably can't take it because he's with the Hurricanes and they're about to play in the Eastern Conference Final against the Florida Panthers. But it is a slam dunk if you are asking me. Now, I know this sent Penguins Twitter into a frenzy, the Penguins subreddit into a frenzy. Let's have everyone chill out here. Okay? Let's go over the list of names that have been connected to the search, whether it's people have speculated that they've talked to or that they have actually interviewed. Okay? Eric Tulsky, Steve Greeley, Cam Lawrence, Ryan Martin, Marc Bergevin, Peter Chiarelli, Jason Carmanos, Matthew Darce, John Chayka, and Jason Botterill. So 10 people right there, whether that's from Elliot Friedman, Elliot Friedman, Frank Cervalli, or Pierre LeBrun, or even Rob Rossi. 10 people right there who they've been connected to / interviewed. And remember what the Penguins said during this end of the season press conference with Dave Beeson and Kevin Acklin? They were going to talk to a lot of people. Elliot Friedman even said himself on the 32 Thoughts podcast, they were going to cast a wide net here. This is what casting a wide net looks like, people. You are interviewing people of all different backgrounds. You have the stats guys in there like Tulsky and Greeley and Cam Lawrence, Jason Carmanos. And then you have the old heads like Peter Chiarelli and Marc Bergevin. John Chayka, you have kind of like a mold of an analytics / old head. I don't really think he's that good. Then you have Ryan Martin and Matthew Darce. 2 guys who are assistants. But you see where I'm going here? Jason Botterill. I wouldn't say he's an old head. He's kind of hockey man. He was the GM of Buffalo. But he knows the organization. People of all different backgrounds. I don't think it's bad of me to say, or wrong of me to say, excuse me, that Fenway, do you think this ownership group knew who almost any of these people were before they started the search? Probably not. Why? Because they're new to hockey. This is their first time they're dabbling with a GM search. There is a search firm involved, according to DK of DK Pittsburgh Sports. So, of course, they're going to recommend people from all different backgrounds. Of those people I mentioned, that was what, 10, 11 people? That fits Pierre LeBrun's report of 10 to 12 interviews via Zoom, whether it's for GM or President of Hockey Operations. Now the fun part is going to begin. Cut that list down. Let's see who's on the list of finalists. That's all I'll say. Let's see who's there. You all can freak out if Peter Chiarelli or Marc Bergevin are there on the list of finalists. Right now, I'm not really thinking anything of it. I wouldn't hire either one of them. I don't think they're good at their jobs. I don't think they have been good at their jobs when they have been GMs, and I don't think they would be any good now because I doubt they've learned anything. So, again, I'm not really too worried about it. You shouldn't be either. This is how job interview processes work. Talk to a lot of people. You cut it down. You bring a few people back for a second round of interviews. Sometimes do a third round where you cut it down even more than you decide. But for this one, it looks like they're just going to cut it down, do some in-person interviews, then they'll decide. Let's see the names who are still there after the second round of interviews. This will be phase 2. I expect this to really pick up steam this week and next week. Let's see what happens. I do have faith in Fenway to get this right, but of course, I'm feeling a little uneasy that when I saw 2 very big retreads on there. I am just not interested in really any retread, to be honest. Whether that's Peter Chiarelli, Marc Bergevin, Jason Botterill, or John Chayka. I just don't think they were any good at their jobs when they were full-time GMs. I think of those 4, Botterill could probably work the most because he knows the organization. And I think if you surround him with a good front office, maybe he could get some results. But I was never thrilled of the results that he had in Buffalo outside of the Tage Thompson deal with Ryan O'Reilly. And he kind of got lucky that Thompson found his game a couple of years ago because that trade was looking really bad as well for a while. So Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, or you can send me a DM. What do you think of these updates? Who would you hire as GM? I should have mentioned at the top that Kyle Dubas has basically removed himself from this search. He said it's Toronto or bust for him. So Kyle Dubas will not be coming here based off what he said to the media on Monday. So you can cross him off Fenway's group. So those are the updates for the GM search today. Again, I mean, if what my dream front office is, people, right now, based on today, Eric Tulsky, Jason Carmanos, a 1-2 punch right there. Or Eric Tulsky and Sam Ventura is a 1-2 punch for president of hockey ops and a GM. That would be pretty fun. I know it's pretty data centric. I know they haven't been, GMs like full-time GMs before, but that I think those would be two really sound hires for the organization. Two people that get it. They know where the game is going. They use data in their decisions. I think that's like my dream front office for the Penguins. But that'll do it for this first segment. Coming up in the second segment, we're continuing our season reviews with the Dragon himself, Marcus Pettersson, and why I think he had his best season of his career this past season. So that's coming up right after this. But before we get to that, we do have to discuss Athletic Greens. They have a product I use literally every day because I didn't really have time to work out in the morning. I want a better gut health, more energy, a better immune system. I don't really like taking pills and vitamins and all that stuff. So you're probably wondering, what is this? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, and probiotics to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All of those things, also lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It also has over 7,000 five-star reviews, and it costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day, and that's it. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit the website athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, I'm back here on this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at @Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. We're free and available on all platforms. So let's jump right in now. As we continue our season reviews, I had to take a nice sip of water there because I get almost out of breath when I talk for almost 15 straight minutes. Let's continue now with Marcus Pettersson. Played in 68 games this season. 1 goal, 24 points in those 68 games. 27 years old right now, still signed for a number of years. This was, in terms of his point production, the second most points that he's had for his career. It comes 1 point behind his career high in 2018-19 when he played 84 games, just because that's how it was with just going from the Ducks to the Penguins. And 25 points, 2 goals, 1 goal this season. This actually breaks a streak of where he had 4 straight seasons of at least 2 goals this season, though only 1 goal. But I do think his offensive ability took big strides this season. He was making moves in the offensive zone that I had never seen him make before. Heck, even during one of the games, he went around the net and tried to pull off Gino's spinorama move that he had on Cam Ward back in 2009. And I was like, what? I just stood there and I just couldn't believe it, because where did that come from? And you could just see the signs of him feeling so confident in the offensive zone this season. He did numerous curl and drags, on just defensemen, forwards, whoever was out there, where it was like, wow, he is feeling it. And he had one heck of a season for the Penguins. Played over 1,200 minutes on 5-on-5 ice time when he was on the ice. Penguins had 52% of the shot attempts, 50% of the actual goals for, 56% of the expected goal share, 70% of the expected goals for, which is just awesome. 52.7% of the scoring chances, 55.7% of the high danger chances, 52% of the high danger goals for, shot about 8% this season. All of his numbers, very, very strong. He has been an above average possession player ever since he came over to the Penguins in that trade back in 2018, 2019 for Daniel Sprong. That's actually a trade, I know Daniel Sprong is not with Anaheim right now. He's doing well in Seattle, but I'd say that's working out, for whatever team has each player right now. Daniel Sprong's really turned into a nice bottom six player. Had double-digit goals this season. Marcus Pettersson's turned himself into a reliable top four shutdown defenseman who could potentially be playing top minutes next season. And again, the data backs it up. He was great. Honestly, you can make an argument that he was their most consistent defenseman this season, and it's one I think I would agree with you on. Letang, he was a bit inconsistent early on, which I think puts him a small step below Pettersson. But that just goes to show how good Marcus was this season. Remember when everyone was clamoring for the Penguins to trade him last offseason? Heck, they almost did. Ron Hextall, the original trade to get Jeff Petrie, and this was told to me that before it was reported by another outlet. I believe it was Josh Owie that reported it. And of course, he'll be on the show tomorrow, 2:00 Eastern time. But I was told, and again, he confirmed it, that it was Marcus Pettersson and Teddy Bluger for Jeff Petrie. Wouldn't have minded Bluger going because he didn't really do much here. But Pettersson, I would have loved to see where this team would be this year. Well, actually, I probably would not have loved to see that. I think it's the opposite, right? I would have hated to see this team this season without him in the lineup for almost a full 82 games. Where would the team be without his play? He was a wizard, especially in the defensive zone. He played good minutes with Chris Letang. They had some strong underlines together. I would give that pairing some more juice next season. I would give it more juice if the Penguins can't go out and acquire a full-fledged top left-handed defenseman to play with Letang. If they can't do that, I would just slide Pettersson up to play with Letang and then get someone else to play the second pairing where you can probably get for a little bit cheaper, whether it's via free agency or via trade. But I think he has definitely earned the right to maybe get a look next to Letang if they don't think it's a big need. But he's ready for those minutes. He's ready for any of those minutes. He showed it this season. He has been a rock for this team. And I can't say good enough things about him. He was also good on the penalty kill, good shot blocker, just an all-around good NHL defenseman. There is really no full glaring weakness to his game. If you want to say a weakness is that he doesn't produce enough offense, sure, one goal isn't really nothing to write home about. I would like to see more offense from him in that department, but still had almost 30 points overall this season, contributed in the offensive zone. I'll still take that from a number 2 defenseman. If you can get a defensive core that has 3 good puck movers / point producers and maybe 3 players who are good defensively in their own zone, but can also contribute a little bit offensively, that's good in my book. I don't think you need Pettersson to be a great offensive defenseman. He's fine the way he is. It's just surrounding him and surrounding Letang, especially with more players that can contribute offensively, of course, defenseman that is, in the offensive zone. And then in turn for Pettersson, getting people around him who are good shutdown defenders who can go one-on-one and beat whoever's coming in. So I really enjoyed his season this year. A+ in my book. Really excited to see what he does for next season. Still under contract. Pretty good cap hit. Really nice deal when it was signed. They better not even think to trade him this summer. Just don't even consider it. Unless you're getting some very, very good player in return. But no, I'm not really sure interested in that right now. So that wraps up this second segment. Coming up to end the show, we're going to continue to discuss the playoffs, why no one should be surprised that Vegas took down the Oilers, and so much more. But before we get to that, we do have to discuss Game Time, buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. That's why Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you will have. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. They have deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Remember, that code is LOCKEDONNHL. All right, we're back in this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes, follow the show's Twitter at Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen / first watch of the day. So we had another series end on Sunday night. The Edmonton Oilers fall in 6 games to the Vegas Golden Knights. I finally get on the board with my second round predictions. I predicted the Devils and the Leafs to win their respective series. I will take a fat L right there. I predicted the Devils in 7, Hurricanes 5. I predicted the Leafs, I think, in 6 or 7. They lost in 5. L there. I predicted Vegas to win. I forget it was 6 or 7, but I got that one right. I saw the ESPN panelists. They had, I think it was like 22 of the 26 had Edmonton winning. Saw so many other people on social media picking the Oilers. And I don't know why people just counted out Vegas. I kept tweeting about this. Vegas is one of the only teams that can go blow for blow with them. And you saw that during this series. Jonathan Marchessault gets a natural hat trick. Marc Stone was great. Jack Eichel has really come out during these playoffs. He has been fantastic. Shea Theodore has been very good. Laurent Brossoit, before he got hurt, was good. Aiden Hill, what a night he had on Sunday night, shutting down the Oilers throughout the entire game. They have the star power to beat you, and you saw that here. Also, the Oilers, they were too dependent on their power play. I kept saying on this show and on my Twitter, if you can just keep the game to 5v5, you can beat them. And sure enough, the Knights were able to do a decent job of that, and that's why the Oilers lost. If you don't put the Oilers on the power play, they can't beat you as much. And I know that sounds weird to say because Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid play so many minutes either together or separately, but still it's 5-on-5 versus a 5-on-4 where they can pick you apart like it's nothing. The Oilers didn't have enough depth scoring when McDavid and Draisaitl were on the ice, which has been a big issue for them during the McDavid-Draisaitl era. It worked during the regular season, but it disappeared during the playoffs. And once again, they did not have the goaltending. I didn't trust Laurent Brossoit or Aiden Hill coming in, but I definitely didn't trust Stuart Skinner. I thought he was really bad against Los Angeles. I think the Oilers got lucky that Jonas Korpisalo was honestly not that good against them, and they also feasted on the power play there. But Skinner was bad, and he had a pretty decent season. He's up for the Calder. I don't know if he's going to win it. I would probably give it to Beniers. Matty Beniers, of course, of the Kraken, which they're playing right now. But he just ran out of gas. I think that's the main thing. And I was kind of surprised that Jay Woodcroft did not go to Jack Campbell for that Game 6. I understand the sentiment of, well, you play the guy who got you there. And sure, I totally understand that. But with how Skinner was playing, I just thought they should have went to the guy you paid a good chunk of money for this offseason. Because I thought when Campbell came in during these playoffs, he was perfectly fine. But Oilers out in 6. McDavid and Draisaitl aren't getting any younger. And I know that sounds weird to say because they both put up historic seasons. McDavid just did stuff that we haven't seen in the league in a very long time. He's going to win the Hart Trophy. Draisaitl is awesome. But you can't keep wasting these opportunities when they are playing like this. You have to break through at some point. And I think that falls also on the general manager, Ken Holland, right now, to put a better team around those two superstars. But kudos to Vegas. They did a great job shutting down the Oilers at 5-on-5. They limited their damage as much as they could in terms of the Oilers' power play, and they were able to be the better team at even strength and also get the goaltending to advance in 6 games. They had the star talent to go up against the Oilers. They beat them. They won the Pacific Division for a reason. You saw it. I'm just glad I got that one right. I predicted Dallas to win this game 7 tonight. We'll have to see if that comes true so I can finish it at 500. No matter what, I think these conference finals are going to be really fun. Carolina, Florida. People can talk all they want, like, well, the ratings are going to be bad. Who cares? Like, people really care so much about that stuff. I'm sorry. I don't need to see the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Eastern Conference Final for like the 8th billionth year in a row. I don't. This is perfectly fine seeing 2 fresh new teams in there. Vegas. I actually did not know this until yesterday. This is the 4th time in the last 6 years they've been to the Western Conference Final. Pretty good. Still, that's a good market to have. They're a very good team. Vegas, Seattle, I think will be the league's dream because 2 expansion teams playing against each other. Vegas, Dallas, that would also be a lot of fun. And also 4 pretty southern hockey markets or non-traditional hockey markets, if you want to put it that way, in the conference final. That's pretty good. None of those big market teams in there for a change. I think the ratings will probably be fine. I'm looking forward to watching a Stanley Cup final where it's 2 fresh teams in there. That's what I'm really excited about. So that does it for this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. Really appreciate all of you listening / watching. I'll be back with another episode for you all on Tuesday when Josh Yohe of The Athletic joins me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll discuss everything regarding the GM search, maybe do some free agency / trade stuff, mostly some GM search stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it. So again, until then, thank you all so much. I'll talk with you all on Tuesday.